Years passed, and Lyra's reputation as the Stormbringer's chosen protector grew far and wide. The villagers of Zarn lived in harmony, their fears of the storms now replaced with awe and respect for Lyra's remarkable ability. But peace, as always, is fleeting, and soon a new challenge arose, one that threatened not just the village, but the very balance of nature itself. One morning, as Lyra walked through the village square, she noticed a stranger in the crowd. He was an old man, cloaked in tattered robes, his eyes clouded with worry. He approached Lyra with a sense of urgency. "Guardian of the storm," he said, his voice trembling. "I come from the village of Drakmoor, beyond the eastern mountains. Our lands have been struck by an unrelenting drought. The rivers have dried up, the crops are failing, and our people are suffering. We need your help." Lyra listened intently, her heart heavy with the man's plight. She had never ventured beyond the safety of Zarn's mountains, but she knew she couldn't ignore their cries for help. "Tell me more," Lyra urged. "What has caused this drought?" The old man shook his head. "We do not know. It began suddenly, and no rain has fallen for months. It is as if the skies have been sealed shut." Lyra sensed a deeper force at work. She agreed to help and set out with the old man, embarking on a journey to Drakmoor. As they traveled, she could feel the dryness in the air, the land parched and cracked beneath their feet. The once lush forests and fields were now barren wastelands. When they arrived, the villagers of Drakmoor gathered around, their faces gaunt with despair. Lyra raised her hands to the sky, calling upon the storm's power. She felt the familiar surge of energy, but something was wrong. The skies remained clear, the clouds refusing to gather. Determined, Lyra climbed the highest peak in Drakmoor, seeking answers. At the summit, she found an ancient altar, much like the one she had discovered years ago in Zarn. But this altar was desecrated, its runes dark and broken. As she examined the altar, a chilling wind blew, and a voice echoed in her mind. "Lyra, guardian of the storm, you have come." Lyra turned to see a shadowy figure emerging from the darkness. It was the Stormbringer, but twisted and corrupted, their form wreathed in a malevolent aura. "What has happened?" Lyra demanded. "Why have you brought this drought upon these lands?" The corrupted Stormbringer sneered. "The balance of nature has been disrupted. Another force, the Shadowbringer, has risen. They seek to control the elements and have sealed the skies over Drakmoor." Lyra's heart sank. She had heard legends of the Shadowbringer, a dark counterpart to the Stormbringer, bent on harnessing the power of nature for destruction. "How can I stop them?" Lyra asked, her resolve unwavering. "You must restore the altar," the Stormbringer replied. "Only then can the balance be restored and the skies opened once more." With the guidance of the corrupted deity, Lyra set to work. She gathered the villagers, and together they cleansed the altar, restoring its ancient runes. As they worked, the ground trembled, and the air grew heavy with anticipation. Finally, with the altar restored, Lyra stood before it and channeled all her energy. She called upon the storm, her power amplified by the renewed altar. The skies darkened, and clouds began to gather, rumbling with thunder. But as the first drops of rain began to fall, the Shadowbringer appeared, their form shrouded in darkness. They unleashed a torrent of shadowy energy, aiming to destroy the altar and plunge the land into eternal drought. Lyra stood firm, her eyes blazing with determination. She summoned a bolt of lightning, clashing with the Shadowbringer's dark energy. The two forces battled, their powers crackling through the air. In a final desperate move, Lyra drew upon the full might of the storm. She let out a primal scream, and a massive bolt of lightning struck the Shadowbringer, dispelling their darkness. The rain poured down in torrents, quenching the parched earth and filling the rivers once more. Exhausted but triumphant, Lyra watched as the villagers of Drakmoor rejoiced. The balance had been restored, and the land would heal. She knew that her journey was far from over, that there would always be threats to the harmony of nature. But she also knew that she had the strength and the courage to face them. Returning to Zarn, Lyra was greeted as a hero. She continued to protect her village, and now the wider world, knowing that the power of the storm was not just a weapon, but a force for good. And so Lyra's legend grew, a beacon of hope and strength in a world forever under the watchful eyes of both the Stormbringer and the Shadowbringer.